So, for evaluation and diagnosis for any neuromuscular pathology, there are two major approaches. First one is EMG, that is electromyography, and the second one is SD curve. So, information can be gained by measuring the potential generated by the nerves and the muscle activity that comes in EMG, electromyography, right? We measure the potential, action potential, when we give stimulation to the nerves and muscles. Second one is information can be gained by stimulating the nerve and the muscle with an appropriate electrical pulse and assessing the result. What we do in SD curve plotting, right? So here we will study more about evaluation and diagnosis by stimulation of nerves and muscles. So the assessment by stimulation may be made by observing the muscle contraction as done in SD curve, right? So in SD curve, we check the muscle response with the electrical impulses. So by observing muscle contraction, we can establish whether the muscle contraction is evident or not. These muscles are contracting normally or not. Second point is whether there is nerve continuity or not, right? And next one is the muscle innervation by strength duration test detect that innervation changes with time. So by observing muscle contraction, we can check whether the muscle is contracting properly or not, whether there is nerve continuity or not, and the muscle innervation by SD test. Right? So a stimulation method also allows the time between the stimulation and response to be measured. To precisely giving valuable information about the nerve conduction velocity, this method is called evoked action potential, and it is divided into motor and sensory conduction velocity test. Next one is electronic reflex test. Next one is centrally evoked response. So part of the motor pathway which are accessible for electrical stimulation are the lower motor neuron below its exit from the vertebral canal and the muscle itself, but not the upper motor neuron, right? So in lower motor cases, we check the muscle contraction response by the EMG and SD curve or NCBT. So to assess the pathway of peripheral nervous system, different electrical tests are performed, right? So first we discuss strength duration test. It is the test to determine neuromuscular excitability, and it is used mainly for motor nerve assessment, right? So in this test, a minimal detectable contraction is used as the standard response, and the current as voltage needed to elicit that response at different pulse length is plotted on a graph known as the strength duration curve. It means in this test, we take a minimal detectable contraction in a muscle as a standard response, right? And the current as voltage needed to elicit that response at different pulse length. We use different pulse length, right? Is 0.01 millisecond, 0.03 millisecond, 0.1 millisecond, 0.3 milliseconds, 1 millisecond, 3 millisecond, 10, 30, 100, 300 milliseconds. Is different pulse length, right? So we plot a graph between the intensity and duration, right? And this graph is known as strength duration curve or strength duration graph. So the advantage of this method is that it is simple and reliable and indicates the proportion of denervation, right? So advantage of this method is basically it's a very simple method we use, and by using this test as the curve plotting test, we check the status of the muscle and the nerves, right? So the advantage of this method is it is simple and reliable and indicates the proportion of denervation, right? Now we discuss method for performing SD test. Point is, the patient is reassured by adequate explanation about the test. Means we have to explain the procedure to the patient first, right? Next one is the area to be treated should be firmly supported. Here. Next point is the warm and the wet the skin so as to lower the skin resistance when the current is passed. We have to reduce the skin resistance. Next important point is the indifferent electrode is placed over some convenient area, usually over the origin of the muscle group. So we place indifferent electrode or passive electrode on the origin of the muscle group, right? And the active electrode is moved over the muscle bulk until a good muscle contraction is obtained, right? And the current is applied using the longest stimulus first, for example 100 or 300 millisecond, and increased until the minimum observable contraction is obtained, right? So current is applied using the longest stimulus first. Means longest stimulus, longest pulse duration. So we start with 100 millisecond or 300 millisecond pulse duration, right? First we set the knob at 300 millisecond, right? And we increase the intensity until and unless we get the muscle contraction, right? Then we reduce the pulse duration. Now we reduce the pulse duration. Now come to 100 milliseconds. And again we have to increase the intensity to get muscle contraction. Again we change the knob. We come to this 10 or 30 millisecond pulse duration. Again we have to change the intensity, right? So by doing this, we had started from 300 millisecond. Now we come to 300 millisecond, then 100 millisecond, then 30 millisecond, then 10, then 3, then 1 millisecond, then 0.03, then 0.01 millisecond, right? Like that. So we are reducing the pulse duration. So when we reduce the pulse duration, we have to increase the intensity to get muscle contraction or to get muscle response, right? By marking, we get a curve, right? we get a curve. So the magnitude of the current or voltage is noted and the impulse is shortened. This procedure is repeated for each length of the stimulus in turn. So magnitude of the current is increased as required. Right? The minimum observable contraction is used to detect change in strength, and is very important that the active electrode is held on the same point of the muscle throughout the test. Means we can select the motor point and the active electrode will be held on the same point of the muscle or motor point throughout the test. We cannot change the position of the electrode. Right? And the minimum observable contraction of the muscle should be used to detect change in strength. Right? So the strength duration curve between duration and voltage or current is plotted from the results of the test. So we can plot a graph in between duration and the intensity. Duration will be in milliseconds and the intensity will be in milliampere. Right? So we will get a graph like that. Right? In a constant voltage. And when we use constant current, we get a graph almost like that in between the pulse duration and the voltage. Right? So the operators used for obtaining SD test applies rectangular impulses of different durations. This is the important point. First duration will be different. An impulse with duration of 0.01, 0.03, 0.1, 0.3, 1, 3, 10, 30, 100 and 300 milliseconds are required. So the two types of stimulation are used. One is constant current and the other one is constant voltage. The constant current stimulation produces the more accurate results, but the constant voltage stimulation is more comfortable to the patient. Right? When we use constant current stimulation, the result will be accurate. Right? But in case of constant voltage stimulation, that procedure will be more comfortable to the patient. Right? So this is the difference. So the SD curve will further to the left with a constant voltage than with the constant current stimulator. Right? So this is the difference between the curves which we get in constant voltage and in constant current. Right? It shifts. So in SD curve plotting, we get different types of curves. If the muscle is innervated, we will get a different curve. If the muscle is denervated, we will get a different curve, right? And if the muscle is partially innervated or partially denervated, we will get a different curve, right? So by seeing these curves, we can predict the status of the muscle or we can predict the status of the motor unit, right? So first we discuss normally innervated muscle, right? So the curve of normally innervated muscle is typical in shape because the same strength of the stimulus is required to produce a response with all the impulses of longer duration. Means when we use 100 millisecond, we use 10, 30, 3, 1, up to 1. The stimulus strength will be constant. Correct? The strength will be constant. Right? So up to 1 millisecond, we will get a straight line. Right? While those of shorter duration, means below 1 millisecond, it requires an increase in the strength of the stimulus. Now we have to increase the intensity each time. Means from 0.3, we have to increase the intensity. When we use 0.1, again we have to increase the intensity. When we use 0.03, again we have to increase the intensity. And when we use 0.01, again we have to increase the intensity. So we will get a graph like this. Up to 1 millisecond, the line will go like this, straight, then it will move like this. So we will get a graph like this, right? In the innervated muscles, normally innervated muscles, right? Next one is complete denervated muscle. In case of complete denervated muscle, for all the impulses with a duration 100 millisecond or less, the strength of a stimulus must be increased each time. Right? Suppose we have taken 100 millisecond, right? So current intensity will be, suppose, 20 milliampere, right? Now we change the pulse duration. Now the pulse duration is 30 millisecond. Then we have to increase the intensity. That will increase up to 30, 40, like that, where we get the muscle contraction. Criteria is muscle contraction, minimum visible muscle contraction, right? So when we change the pulse duration, means from 300 millisecond, then 100 millisecond, then 30 millisecond, then 10 millisecond, like that, we have to increase the intensity, right, to get the response. So in this case, all the impulses with a duration 100 millisecond or less, the strength of a stimulus must be increased each time, and the duration is reduced, and no response is obtained to impulse of very short duration. So the curve rises steeply, like that. Right? The curve rises steeply and further the right to that of innervated muscle. So in case of denervated muscle, we will get a curve that will be right to that of innervated muscle. Right? That will be right to the innervated muscle. So this is condition of completely innervated muscle. In this, you will get a steep curve in complete innervated muscle contractions. Right? Now we discuss partially innervated muscle. So in this case, the impulses of longer duration stimulate both innervated and denervated muscle fibers. So thus low intensity is required for contraction. Right? So with the impulses of short duration, the innervated fiber respond to weaker stimulus and denervated fiber will not respond. Right? So here we will get two types of graphs in the same curve. and there will be a kink, junction point. So one part of the curve will show the innervated fibers response. Another part of the curve will show the denervated fibers response, and there will be a junction that will be known as kink. That is the junction point, right? So in partially innervated muscle condition, we will get a peculiar type of curve, right? So in all these three conditions means in innervated condition, in completely denervated condition, and partially innervated and partially denervated condition, we will get different curves, different shapes of curves, right? In normally innervated muscle, curve will be like this, right? In complete denervated muscle, the curve will be steep, straight like that, right? In partially innervated or partially denervated, it will be a combination of both two, and there will be a kink, right? So by seeing this graph, we can notice the condition of the muscle, right? Whether the muscle is innervated or whether the muscle is denervated, or it may be a partially innervated or it may be a partially denervated, right? So this is SD curve, SD curve plotting, right? Any doubt in this? Anyone? In next class, we will move to Leo base and Clonax, right?